Now, if somebody in the room is listening,
We're going to start in 1 minute. If you'd like to find your seats.
Good evening. So nice to see all of you here. I'm Sandy Meiskens, member of the League of Women Voters, Marquette County. Welcome to this League of Women Voters Candidate Forum featuring the 8 candidates running in the general election for the Marquette Area Public School Board. The Marquette County chapter of the League of Women Voters is sponsoring this forum. For almost 104 years, the League has engaged and educated voters through the candidate forums, voter registration drives, and voter guides. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization established to encourage citizen participation in government. It never supports or opposes any political party or candidate. We offer you this opportunity to become acquainted with the candidates and their views in order to promote an informed vote on election day. We request that the members of the audience remain respectful of the candidates and the forum format. Please turn off all of your cell phones and refrain from taking photographs or recording during the forum. No campaign clothing, buttons, or signage are permitted during the forum. To provide the maximum time for questions, we request that you hold your applause and any comments for the candidates until the conclusion of the forum. The MAPS Board Forum will be live streamed to the League of Women Voters of Marquette County YouTube channel. There is a link on our Facebook. The recording will be available on YouTube for later viewing immediately following the forum. We will get to our program in just a minute, but first we take this opportunity to extend an invitation to you to support the League or to become a member. The program that you are attending is a part of our mission, as I've mentioned before. We are a volunteer organization and rely on dues and donations to make these programs and projects possible. We invite you to financially support this and our other League events. We have a strong working membership and board, but it takes a whole community, you, to achieve our mission. At the end of the program, we will have flyers available for both donations and membership. Thank you again for attending today's program. The forum will now begin, and let's please welcome our candidates.
Good evening and welcome to the League of Women Voters Forum featuring the candidates for the Marquette Area Public School Board. I'm Jo Foley, a member of the League of Women Voters, a resident in the MAPS district, and moderator for this evening. The MAPS School Board trustees are primarily charged with the vision, budget, goals, and policy for all the children in the district. There are 8 candidates on the ballot. From your left to right are Glenn Sarka, Sarah Mills-Gervais, Ashley Matson, Cassidy Thomas, Nathan Joyle, Kristen Kambensi, Jim Rankin, and Jen Tusinger. Did I do that right? Close enough?
Yeah.
Thank you, I apologize. The 3 candidates receiving the most votes will win 6-year seats on the MAPS board. Andy Bellinger to my left is the assistant moderator, and at the table behind me are the question screeners. This is the format for this evening. This has been established by the League of Women Voters. These are the rules to which the candidates have agreed. Each candidate will have 1 minute for an opening statement, 1 minute to answer each question, and 2 minutes for a closing statement. Earlier this evening, our candidates drew numbers for the order in which they will respond. The first candidate responding will be rotated to for each of the questions asked. Our timekeeper, Bart Coleman, will hold up a sign, a warning sign at 15 seconds, and then a stop sign at the end of the time. And then I will move the question to the next candidate. The candidates will be answering written questions submitted previously by voters in the MAPS district and by audience members tonight. And you're encouraged, if you would like to write a question on your card, wave it in the air and a page will bring it to the question screeners. We, however, have a lot of questions and a lot of candidates and only limited time. So what happens is that we look at the questions. These questions may be combined or reworded for clarity or to avoid redundancy. We'll use as many questions as time allows, and we try to cover the most pressing topics. So if your exact question isn't asked, hopefully something on that topic will be asked. That's our goal. The candidates have agreed to respond only to the question asked by the moderator. Active debate with other candidates is not allowed. Views expressed or candidate statements provided in this forum are those of the candidates, and the league takes no responsibility. That's our disclaimer. Okay, as we said, we're being live streamed and recorded to the league's YouTube channel. If you can go right to YouTube, or you can look at our Facebook for a link. You may see still photos that appear on the same sites. Those will be our official league photos. Candidates are not allowed to use any audio, photos, or video from the forum in campaign material or advertising. So that's all the rules. Now we'll start the forum. We welcome this evening's candidates who are sitting in the order in which they will respond. As determined by lot, we will begin with opening statements. Starting with candidate Sarka, you have the floor for 1 minute.
Thank you. In order to save everybody a little bit of time in their 1 minute opening, on behalf of everybody up here, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for giving us this forum, giving us a chance to address the public and answer questions. We're very lucky to have the League of Women Voters in our community. I had some prepared statements, but before we came on, I was checking my feed, and there was news that Ethel Kennedy had died today. That's sad news. And certainly, it reminded me of something her husband said when he was running for office in 1968. He was giving a presentation or giving a speech at a school in South Africa, and he made reference to what he said was an ancient Chinese curse that said, "May you live in interesting times." Certainly, as a board member, the last few years have been interesting times. We had lead in the water, we had the nickname controversy, we had the COVID, and it takes a toll on members, and I would just want to talk to the people that want to get on the board. When I started as a board, yes.
It is the end of the
I'm sorry, thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Mills-Gervais, now have the floor for a minute.
Hello, my name is Sarah Mills-Gervais. I'm formerly Sarah Heikola. I'm a proud fourth-generation Yooper, born and raised in Marquette. I attended Marquette Area Public Schools K through 12, where I was a three-sport athlete, played in the orchestra, participated in student council. I earned a bachelor's degree of science from WMU in biology and chemistry. Upon graduation, I had the opportunity to work at Harbor Branch Oceanographic, teaching kids of all ages ecosystem and marine science. I returned to Marquette as the assistant girls track coach for MSHS before pursuing a career as an environmental biologist. I've been raising my boys in our community where they attend Marquette Area Public Schools. I've been actively involved in their school, volunteering for activities and sporting events. My diverse life experience has equipped for this role. I'm a mom. I strongly believe education is a priority for our students. Our teachers and staff are wonderful, and our continued support of their efforts towards our students' success is imperative. Funding for infrastructure, class size, and support staff are a few items that I think are going to be critical in the years to come.
Thank you. Candidate Matson, you now have the floor for a minute.
Hello, my name is Ashley Matson. I was also born and raised in Marquette and spent the majority of my school years as a math student, and I'm a proud MSHS alumna. After leaving Marquette, I attended Michigan State University, where I received my bachelor's degree. When my husband and I decided to start a family, we knew we wanted to do so back in our hometown. I have 3 children that all currently attend MAPS. Not only have I been involved as a parent of a MAPS student since 2017, but I also worked as a paraprofessional at Sandy Knoll Elementary for 3 years. I'm also an active and dedicated member of the parent groups of both of the schools that my children attend. As you can see, I'm invested in this district. A natural next step for me was to run for a seat on the school board. I want to help find ways to keep our district moving forward and to enhance and enrich our students' school experiences. I love Marquette for the small town feel and the tight-knit community, and would love the opportunity to give back as a member of your school board.
Thank you. Candidate Thomas, you now have the floor for a minute.
Good evening. My name is Cassidy Thomas. I too am from Marquette, Michigan. I attended Marquette Area Public Schools K through 12, and I'm running for one of 3 seats on the school board. I moved home and knew that I wanted to give back to the community who made me who I am today, which is why I'm running for school board. As a school board member, I would dedicate myself to increasing our test scores and improving our children's literacy and math scores as they have been improving over the last few years. I would commit to investing in our infrastructure, commit to teacher contracts and staff support contracts, which were thankfully just passed, and continue our history of excellent education here at Marquette Area Public Schools. I hope you consider casting your vote for me on November 5th.
Thank you. Candidate Joyle, you now have the floor for a minute.
Hi, my name is Nathan Joyle. My wife and I have 7 kids. My oldest started at Northern this fall, and my youngest is still in Sandy Knoll. As a parent, I have experience with most of the schools in the district. I've had a great many opportunities to meet the fine educators that we have serving us here. I have a strong educational background. I have a bachelor's degree in biomedical engineering from Michigan Tech and a degree in computer science from Northern Michigan University, as well as professional training as a paralegal, legal investigator, and courtroom mediator. I have work experience administering small business and in corporate accounting, as well as teaching in the college classroom. I think as a district, we do a lot of things really well, and if you elect me, I would be excited to contribute to that continued record of success. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Cambenzi, you now have the floor for a minute.
Hi, I'm Kristen Cambenzi. This is my 10th year serving on the Marquette Area Public Schools Board. I am the current board president. One of the reasons that I decided to run again is that, you know, we have had some tough years. We've went through COVID, the nickname change, so many things, a lot of turnover. And I just feel that there's still more things that we can accomplish. And so I'm hoping to continue that forward progression. And so I would hope that you would vote for me. I have had a lot of experience on the board, and I think that's very valuable. We have a young board. We have a majority of the board has served less than 4 years. So thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Rankin, you now have the floor for a minute.
Thank you. My name is Jim Rankin. I'm born and raised in Marquette. Worked for the Department of Corrections for 30 years, retired from there, now working at the hospital. I coached youth football and high school football here in Marquette with Tiz and Bullock. Did youth football for over 20 years, was on the board there, and was president of the league at one time before things went south. I wanted to get back into working with kids and looking for our future, and the place to start is locally, and that's where I wanted to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Tusignant, you have the floor for a minute.
Hello, my name is Jen Tusignant. I grew up in Iron River, graduated from West Iron, and continued my education at the University of South Florida, where I earned my bachelor's degree. I've been in Marquette for the last 15 years with my family. I'm a mom to a busy 10-year-old MAP student, and I'm running to ensure that her education continues to be top tier. Since she's been attending school in the district, I've had nothing but positive experiences with her teachers and staff, and want to make sure that that trend continues for her and all students throughout their careers at MAPS. With the current state funding cuts and the need for incredibly large infrastructure and expenditures in the next couple of years, the MAPS board is going to have their work cut out for them. I believe that my background in accounting and tax and my ability to be objective and with fresh perspectives and ideas will help to navigate these tough issues to come. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the opening statements. We will now proceed with the question segment. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to each question. We will begin with candidate Mills Gervais. This is the question. What issues relevant to your school district are you especially concerned about?
Thank you. Obviously, continued support for teachers and staff is going to be essential. We obviously have budgets that we have to follow. The infrastructure is going to be a big issue in the years to come. I know there's over $100 million worth of infrastructure and building concerns. The sinking fund being $1 million. We're going to have to find ways to fund those certain infrastructure concerns. Another issue that I know has been big throughout the country is smaller classroom sizes, which teachers have said they really would appreciate that, obviously. Of course, that funding would be for new teachers and whatnot as well, so that would be an issue. But research has proved that that's been really positive in the schools. Transparency between the board, staff, students, and the community is also something that I'd like to look into. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question now goes to candidate Madsen.
So some of the personal concerns I have at MAPS that I would like to address are transparency. I feel like that's been lacking from our board for the past several years and has created some division. I think we need to build back the relationship between the board, the schools, and our community. Infrastructure is going to be huge too. That is a daunting task that we are going to have to get creative with to figure out how to take care of these projects. Because of the division created, I have concerns that the community may be unwilling to pass millages that would help benefit those projects that really need to happen. Proper staffing, I think, is important. Having worked as an aide in the elementary school, I've seen, what you can do on a short staff, and it's amazing, and the staff is great, but I would love to support them as best we can. And then just enriching our students and offering all the best possibilities we can through STEM and further projects. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Thomas.
Thank you. As many of us agree, we need to focus on staffing, keeping our staff well compensated competitively, both our support staff and our teachers. As I mentioned, the current board just passed contracts and they are very competitive. Our infrastructure, of course, our middle school particularly is aging quickly. All of the schools in our district are older than I am. But our current board has done an excellent job and they have a budget started. Focusing on inclusivity and making sure that our school system is a place where all children feel safe and have their needs met is very important. And our teachers should all feel safe and feel that their needs are met as well. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Joyal.
Totally. I think that, first of all, I think it's important for us to There has been a divide culturally in our community, in particular through the school district, as a function of the mascot rebranding, and I think it's important that whether the Sentinels was anybody's first choice or not, that we all find ways as a community and as a school system to rally behind the new mascot and to move forwards together as a group culturally in that way. And I think that, speaking of our internal culture in the schools, it's important to continue to do the day-to-day work of developing a healthy and a supportive culture in our school system. If we don't do that day-to-day work, we will have problems with student mental health and with student success. Besides that, funding is always an issue, is ever an issue, and I'd like to bring some of my experience applying for and receiving grants through my academic career to the school system, and I'm really excited about potentially putting some efforts in to find alternative funding sources vis-a-vis grant programs and such.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Cambenzi.
Our district is actually in a pretty good place. We have one of the highest fund balances that we've had. We passed teacher contracts and support staff contracts that were very competitive. The support staff went up at least $5 an hour. You know, we do have some things that we need to work on. We need to work on infrastructure for sure, continue security and safety. I just think that we're in a pretty good spot, but there is definitely things that I would like to continue to work on.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Rankin.
Thank you. Well, I just got back into coaching, and there's 5 of us coaches with 35 children. I don't know how teachers do it with one teacher. So class size is definitely an issue that has to be addressed, and I also would like to work on the infrastructure. I had a middle school child tell me the condition of one of the schools, and for a 7th grader to say that is kind of eye-opening. I would like to also see us work with, have the children more prepared for when they're out on their own in the world. And one way to do it is have open communication, a fluid way of communication between the board, teachers, administration, and the parents. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Tusica.
Well, with my accounting background and finance background, I'm concerned about the financial. The state cuts that came down a couple months ago, I think are really going to impact the budget here, and we're going to have to get creative in how we're using those funds. And as everybody's already said, the infrastructure repairs, I'm not sure how we come up with $100 million when the community is still so divided over what has happened over the course of the last couple years. I think we're going to have to come up with some really creative solutions to rectify that. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Zarka.
Thank you. I think some priority for me is continued progress we've made, especially under President Cambenzi. I think getting back to kind of stable, regular order is going to be important, not only within the community, but also fiscally. And you know, we have to anticipate some kind of variance coming from Lansing and be prepared to deal with that. I think our fund balance is a good position to do that. Also, to make up for time we lost during COVID with students, and also to support their mental health and those needs that students have outside of academics. Finally, to continue to attract top-tier teachers and staff, and I think we've made positive steps towards that. I'm confident that the community is behind us. They've been behind us in the last few years, but I understand we have to continue to do well in order to earn that trust.
Thank you. We'll go on to a new question, and that will go to candidate Manson. The question is, what experience have you had with negotiation and compromise in a group setting? What skills in this area do you bring to the table?
Never turn this off. Can you repeat it again? Sorry.
What experience have you had with negotiation and compromise in a group setting? What skills in those areas do you bring to the table?
Sure. Sorry, the first thing that pops into my head is I have 3 kids who are the best negotiators I know. I swear they're going to be lawyers. I participate in several boards, the parent group boards. I've been actively involved in that. Right now I'm the current Bothwell Parent Organization president, and I've served on the Sandy Knoll School Association. And so that takes a lot of teamwork and organizing, and we have funds that we distribute to staff and students, so I have some experience with that. I think it might be a little bit of a learning curve too, but I am up for the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Thomas.
As a physician assistant, I negotiate every day with my patients, with my coworkers. A physician assistant is in a unique position because we used to be called mid-levels, we're now APPs. It's Physician Assistant Week, by the way. But we fall kind of in the middle. We have physicians that we answer to, we have nurses that we work with, and so I work with all level of people in negotiating the best way to treat our patients, the best way we can help their families through what's going on. I manage a lot of patients with lung cancers, and so learning how we can negotiate with their time, their travel, these are important. On a more macro level, I have negotiated and dealt with many large groups as the president of my pre-physician assistant club at Michigan State University and as the treasurer of my class at Carroll University PA School. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Joyle.
Sure thing. My wife and I have a blended family, which is difficult under the best of circumstances, and so that's taught me a lot about compromise and sacrifice in order to make a team work. I also serve on the Alumni Board of Control for my old college fraternity. We're the group of adults that deal with the liability insurance and the home maintenance and the mortgage for this college fraternity house. So we often are in the position of being a negotiator between the liability insurers and the active undergraduate participants in the fraternity, which often do not see eye to eye on things. I also have formal training as a courtroom mediator. I have a professional certification in that. And then I'd say lastly, the thing that I have also done recently is I've represented my program at the college in departmental meetings and had to work with other departments to divide budgetary resources and things like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Convenci.
As the current board president, I did just help negotiate the contracts for our different groups. So I have experience doing that, and then also working with our current board and others to, come to consensus on things. As board, we have to, come to a consensus on a lot of issues, and I've helped facilitate that.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Rankin.
Working for the state of Michigan, you learn to negotiate to get things done. Sometimes there's compromise, but the big key was listening, coming together and coming with a common goal. If we can achieve a common goal, we're in the right direction. And you got to be able to listen to both sides of every story.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Tuzignat.
Well, I'd have to agree with Ashley. My 10-year-old seems to think that she's a lawyer already. So I'm constantly negotiating with her, but on a broader level, I negotiate with the IRS for tax clients on a regular basis, and there's always some sort of compromise that has to happen in that capacity. And when you're dealing with personal funds, it can be pretty daunting, but it happens on a regular basis, so I'm fairly confident in my ability there. Thank you.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Sarka.
Thank you as an attorney. Oh, thank you as an attorney. I'm encouraged that we have so many young attorneys coming up, and I would encourage that. I've been a board member and president of the co-op board. I've been on the Habitat board, United Way board, and while I was overseas in Afghanistan and Iraq, I had quite a bit of experience in a little bit higher risk negotiations. I would say probably the best example is how the boards worked the last few years on the nickname issue, which was very contentious. President Convenzi and I were on opposite sides. And I think that's a model for how other government bodies should work. We were on opposite sides, we compromised, we got something done. And as a board, we've supported it across the board. And I think that's how things should work. And I'm very proud of that.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Mills Gervais.
Yes, thanks. So I work at the Beacon House in Marquette, and we often do a lot of fundraising. There's a lot of opportunities for that, and we do a lot of meetings for that and negotiating with potential people for fundraising opportunities. I'm also been a coach of the track team here in Marquette. That's a lot of negotiating with the kids and talking them into running new events and things like that, trying new things, encouraging that. I also have 3 teenage boys, so that's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you. We now have a new question, and that will start with candidate Thomas. What do you believe are the essential components of social emotional learning, and what role do you think SEL plays in academic success and overall well-being?
As I mentioned, I hope to keep our schools an inclusive and safe place for all children, and that starts with social and emotional learning from a young age. We have to teach children that we can be friends and love people who are different than we are, who look different than we are, who think differently than we are. And that doesn't always start at home, and it's not because parents don't want to, it's because we're busy folks. And so our educators are playing a huge role in what our children learn, all the way from our emotions to calculus. So social and emotional learning is incredibly important to our children, and it carries all the way into adulthood. I use social and emotional learning myself on a daily basis when I use compassion and empathy, and it's important for us to teach children this as well.
Thank you. The same question goes to candidate Joelle.
Social and emotional learning refers back to our social and emotional health as human beings. All human beings live in social structures and have emotions. And failures in these things cause mental health failures. They cause depression, they cause antisocial behaviors from people. If people do not have healthy social and emotional statuses in their life, it's very, very difficult for them to be successful as students. They can't concentrate in class, they can't get their homework done, they can't participate well with other people. So ensuring that our students have the correct tools, the correct language, the correct concept structures to understand and talk about their social and emotional needs first and foremost, and then to listen to them and to get that feedback from them and ensure that their needs are met not only academically in our school systems, but socially and emotionally, so that we can have overall healthy students with a good mental health that are then successful academically as well.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Kubetsi.
Growing good humans. I mean, that's what social emotional learning is all about. You know, you can have great grades, but be a not so nice person. And having, yes, the tools and the language to be able to be good humans is very important. You know, I think a lot of people lost some of the skills to interact with other people, especially during COVID when we were isolating and all of those things, and we're going to be seeing that for a very long time to come. And so, you know, the district tried to help with that with instituting MTSS, multi-tiered systems of supports, to focus on the whole child. And I think that is, you know, a great initiative, and social emotional learning is part of that. You know, we need to grow good humans.
Thank you. Just want to be sure that 15 seconds means you can continue. You're good. Okay. That's good. Okay. Same question to candidate Rankin.
Looking into this, I would look a lot more into it to get a better understanding of the question at hand. One thing that sticks out with me, there would be an open line of communication with the parents. Working with the parents is going to be key in developing our young children.
Thank you. Same question, candidate to Signa.
I'm on the fence about SEL. I've heard great things about it. I know it improves academic performance. I know it reduces behavior problems in school. My 10-year-old enjoys her teacher, but doesn't enjoy the class as much. And at the elementary level, I don't know if there should be maybe an opt-out if children are doing okay without it and they need more focus on math or reading, which seems to be an issue, at least in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades that we've seen. I know it helps, but I think there's a lot more study that needs to go into it, and how it's being taught at the upper levels. I know in the elementary school it's a dedicated class, and maybe if it's integrated in middle school and high school, then that's a better thing for every student.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Sarka.
Thank you. I think it goes back to teaching the whole human. I think we probably discounted it until COVID reminded us how much isolation and disruption can cause problems with students. It can affect their academic performance. And so implementation of MTSS, I think, has been crucial in bringing some of those scores back, but also, again, just teaching the whole human. I think what's important about it is having staff buy-in, having staff training, so there's a consistent message. And I think if we do that, we're going to see other kind of side benefits to it, but I'm in support of SEL.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Mills Gervais.
Yeah, so I think SEL is important. I think that getting your emotions under control in school sometimes is hard, right, for certain kids. It's nice to have that class to help those kids facilitate their behaviors in class, especially if they're younger. I think what may need to be done, and maybe some help, because my kids also thought the class was kind of boring. I wish they could have gotten more out of it, because I think they could have. Maybe working or collaborating with mental health professionals to help teach, and behavioral-based discipline training for the teachers that are teaching the class. I think there's a lot of teachers that would like to know more about it and how it works, and I think some of the teachers aren't as trained in it, so I think that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Manson.
Yeah, I'd just like to address this because I had heard that people, for some reason, think that I would like to cancel SEL, and I would like to say officially that is not true. I don't have any intention to cancel SEL. I think it's a good concept. I don't know that our staff has been fully trained to execute the program. My kids do not enjoy it. Having worked in the schools, when it was early on implemented, I can see why it wasn't an enjoyable class, because there wasn't consistency. So hopefully, as this program progresses, our staff is learning more, getting more professional development, and to be able to help raise the whole human. I think staff buy-in is very important. I have lots of friends who love the program. They ask for the resources to go home, and so I think that's great, and we can continue to work on that.
Thank you. We'll be going on to a new question now, and that will be going first to candidate Joyal. Here's the question. School library and classroom books in the MAPS district are selected according to the Michigan Merit Standards, and there is a policy for addressing parental complaints about books. What changes, if any, would you want to make to book selection policy, and why?
No, I don't see that there's any need to make changes to book selection policy. I think that we have a system in place for reviewing books that's data-driven. It's based on industry standards that are at the cutting edge of our understanding of what's best for students' education and for their well-being. And I think those standards are reevaluated at a regular basis. And again, there is a system for parents to object to any content they don't want their kids to view at this time. So I don't see that there's a need to really change anything. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Thank you. Excuse me. The same question goes to candidate Kamenzi.
I would echo that. I think that we have great policies in place. We have professionals that we employ or partner with to help us select the books that are in our schools. I don't feel that we need to make any changes.
Thank you. Same question goes to candidate Rankin.
Well, I would look into the policy that is in place right now, and just the question came up. Obviously, there are some parents with concerns over it, and I think that is something that needs to be looked into and further discussed. And if there needs to be changes, then changes will be made.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Tusigna.
I haven't heard that there was an issue in Marquette with any books that people were concerned about. I always think the solution, though, is if there is an issue that a parent has, it should be discussed with the teacher, and maybe an alternative book can be used. Not creating a lot of extra work for the teacher, but so that there is a compromise that can be made without them being concerned about it. But otherwise, I think the policy that's in place right now is a good policy.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Zarka.
Thank you. I would support the current policy. I think it strikes a good balance between parents and gives a process for parents to make complaints. But it strikes a good balance between parents who want maybe a book removed and parents who wouldn't want that book removed. A lot of times we don't take that into account. So I think the current process, relies on professionals. I think it relies on kind of data, and it gives enough of a process for parents who have complaints to raise those issues. So I would support the current process and policy.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Mills Gervais.
Yes, I believe the same thing. Policies are in place, which are really great. I've never had an issue in my situation or with my kids. I think just good communication between the teachers and the staff and the kids, parents, I think that all comes into play, but I think we've never had issues with that. So I would say the policies that are in place now seem to be working pretty well. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Manson.
Yeah, I agree. I think if we have a policy in place that is open, allows open communication between the schools and the parents, I think that's essential. I think parents have a right to know what their kids are reading or what's available to them. And so I think if we keep that open line of communication, that will be vital. I'm unaware, I thought we heard that there used to be a certified media specialist, I think is what they're called for MAPS. I don't know that we currently have one anymore, and that's been a topic that's been brought up and I think could be beneficial for our district. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Thomas.
I don't see a need for any change to the policy. I trust our experts, I trust our teachers. They went to school to be teachers and librarians, and I did not. So I believe they know what's best and what meets the merit criteria for our children in our community. A parent's right to opt out has been codified in law for many years, and I don't see a need to change that now.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Joyle. Oh. Sorry, you already answered, didn't you? There's a lot of you up there. We have a new question now, and that will start with candidate Kamenzi. Everyone's mentioned the infrastructure $100 million project list and a $1 million yearly sinking fund. How would you have the board approach the community about increased funding for infrastructure needs?
I think one thing that worked successfully when we did our last bond millage was talking to a lot of the different groups. You know, when we added the auxiliary gym, when we added the turf on the football field, improvements at Kaufman, planetarium fixes, it appealed to a lot of different audiences in the community, and I think that's something that we would need to do again to make the bond successful. There's a long list of projects, whether we do it all at one time or over several years to get it done. It's going to be talking with the community and getting buy-in from the community, and I think that's something that we have done before and that we can do again.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Rankin.
I think a lot of communication needs to be presented to the public and to the MAPS area to explain exactly what the issues are, prioritize, and then there's always solutions to a problem. It's just going to take time and try to figure it out and work with a compromise to come together and get it done. What those are right now and what they could possibly be, I have no clue. But I understand that you have a lot of people in this area that have fresh ideals and we can use them and utilize that.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Tusignat.
First, I think we have to mend the bridges and unify the district. I think that that's been an issue over the last couple of years. Possibly doing tours of the schools, outside of school hours so that people can see what the infrastructure really looks like and what has to be corrected. So that they either don't want to send their kids or their grandkids to that school without those replacements or repairs being completed.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Sarka.
Thank you. I think an important part of it, talk about a divided community, is to point out whether we're Sentinels or Redmen, whether you are for masking or not masking. A new lab at the high school is going to benefit our students, and that's the priority. New upgrades to the school buildings and the surroundings is going to make it safer for our students, again, whether they're Sentinels or Redmen. And really focus on the fact that that kind of support leads directly to safer students, students that do better academically. And I think reaching out and making that point is going to be important. And again, I have confidence that our community supports those goals, again, regardless of nickname controversy and things like that.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Mills Gervais.
Could you read the question one more time?
Sure. We've talked about the $100 million project list and a $1 million yearly sinking fund. How would you approach the community about increased funding for infrastructure needs?
I believe, obviously, communication with the community, transparency with the community of whatever additional building structures need to be fixed. I do agree with Jen. I think tours of the school would be helpful, since a lot of people don't know what's going on at the school as far as the buildings and the infrastructure. Again, mending relationships is another big one. I'm sure that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Madsen.
So I agree, we're gonna have to figure out how to mend this relationship. I think we're gonna getting student buy-in would be very beneficial. I've had parents approach me about Bothwell specifically and just how it's kind of falling apart, and when a student doesn't feel like proud and connected to their school, they might not do as well academically. So I think if we could get student buy-in, students hear from them, hear what they think would help, I think that would be beneficial. I think school tours, I think that's a great idea. I did not think of it, but these ladies did, and I agree. Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough situation to deal with, but I think opening up community conversation will be beneficial.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Thomas.
I think all of us here agree that our children are our future, and where we keep our students during the day is very important. And so to me, I see community buy-in as actually quite easy. We all agree our children deserve the best. As far as touring the schools, I also love that idea, and right now the school board meetings are at each different school over the next couple of months, so it's a great way to get inside the school. They just had one at Cherry Creek, so you could go and see what Cherry Creek looks like, and it's fun. You get to see kind of around, and then joining in on basketball games, you get to see what the high school looks like, so getting involved in your schools if you care about your schools, just being there. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Joyelle.
Yeah, I think honestly, every homeowner knows the price of lumber, nails, paint, all these things are going up. They're going up for homeowners, they're going up for the school. It is what it is. So I think just honesty in our communication. The board does a great job of that, and the district does a great job of that. We send out newsletters, we have a great relationship with the press and the papers. All the board meetings are open and televised. I think, and I don't want to say anything too blunt and offend anybody, but I think that the feelings of a lack of transparency come from people not taking advantage of the opportunities that exist to become informed. And I understand not everybody knows about all those opportunities, and maybe that's part of the problem, but and in that vein, I think tours are a great idea. I think the more opportunities we can give people, and the louder we can shout, hey, here's the information you want, the more that those feelings of a lack of transparency will evaporate, because we are very transparent in our dealings, I think.
Thank you. We now are going to a new question that follows very well on this last one, and this will go first to candidate Rankin. So what would you specifically do to unite the board, administration, staff, and students to ensure the best outcome for students?
That is a good question. Open and honesty, I think is going to be the best way. There's a lot of hurt feelings out there, and I can understand why. But nothing is going to be resolved unless some people can come to the table and be able to talk and resolve the issues. And in order to do that, you have to have an open and honest meeting with people. And there's going to be compromise. Both sides are going to have to give a little. And in order for that to get people to come together, both sides are going to have to understand that there has to be a compromise.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Tusignan?
I agree. I think the only way that everybody's going to unify is with open and honest dialogue, and getting together probably multiple times over multiple periods to talk about why they're still angry, or why it was a good move, or why it wasn't a good move, and trying to solve the issue and get back to being one unified district and getting behind our children.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Sarkak?
Thank you. Again, I think if the focus is on the kids, I think that brings us a long way towards healing the community. I think it was interesting this week, and again, kind of getting back to the nickname, how much excitement there was by the students for homecoming and having the new name and just being high school students. I think a lot of the division in the community goes back to hurt feelings among parents more than, maybe the effect on the students. But I think continue to invite input, which we did throughout the process. Continue to grow the circle of people that we reach out to. We're all in our silos. We're probably talking to the same people. We need to break out of those silos and really reach out to people that may not agree with us. I lost friends over these issues last few years, and just welcome people back to the table and continue the dialogue.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Mills-Gervais?
Yes, I believe that honestly everybody's kind of spoken the same thing here. Open and honest communication, just knowing what's going on, talk about it openly, invite input from other people, and continue to do that. I think it's going to take a while, and it needs to be solved. I mean, communication is the best option. Listening, communication. I think that's what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Manson?
Again, student buy-in. Let's talk to the students, see what can help with their experience, what can help build back their school spirit and school community. An open and honest dialogue, clear transparency about decisions being made or options that are available to the community, but generally echo the general feeling here as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Thomas?
Remembering that we're all a team and we're all on the same team. And this team is made up of a board, a superintendent, our principals, our teachers, our students, and our community, and we all work together as one. So of course, open, honest, transparent conversation is available. We can all go to board meetings, we can all talk to each other, we can all learn from each other. And so continuing to remember that this is a team structure. No one person is in charge of everything in our school system. And that's exactly why the board is made up of multiple people. So teamwork is very important, and I think that's going to be a major part of keeping ourselves unified.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Joyle?
I think candidate Sarka hit the nail on the head with this one. I think the people in the community that are upset are largely upset for reasons. They're not high school students, they're older people, and they're upset for reasons that have to do with them ultimately, that they're upset about their connection to their own legacy or something like that. And I think that a focus on the students and what's literally best for our students today is going to get the ship a long ways on its journey. I think that getting sucked into a years-long cultural dispute where we rehash a decision to change our mascot is not going to be beneficial to our students. It's not going to be beneficial to our community. It's not going to help our schools get funding. It's not it.
Thank you. Please, no response, please. Thank you. Okay, same question to candidate Kaminsky.
I mean, the nickname thing was hard. I voted for keeping the Redmond nickname, you know, but we decided as a board that once the decision was made that we were gonna support that decision, and we did. And we sought as much community input as we possibly could with that decision. We talked to stakeholders, we talked to the students, you know, it was a long process, and we went from a 4-3 vote to a 6-1 vote for the Sentinel name to a 7-0 vote for our logo. You know, it was a long process, and we did as much as we possibly could to be as transparent, as open, and honest as we could. You know, and I went to homecoming. I went to the pep assembly, and man, was that impressive. The students, the staff, the excitement in the building was palpable. I mean, you could just feel it. So I think the students are doing great. I hope the community can follow along.
Thank you. We now have a new question, and we will start with candidate Tusignat. What are some of the short-term and long-term ways to address shortages of teachers, staff, and mental health providers in this district?
Well, we did just pass the new pay structure, and I think that is a long way to helping that. Teacher shortages are not just an issue here, they're an issue everywhere because teaching is getting more and more difficult, it's getting more and more stressful. So obviously keeping their pay competitive. I think it was mentioned in prior meetings that, you know, what about on-site childcare, which is a huge issue in Marquette, finding childcare, finding reliable childcare, and cost-effective childcare. I think that would go to a long way of helping to retain teachers, find teachers, get them in the area, and then supporting our teachers, making sure that we're standing behind them, that we're getting the materials that they need, and supporting them any way that we can.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Sarka.
Thank you. I think that's a great idea. And we have an impressive number of candidates up here, and it's good to hear that input. I think we have to get creative. Post-COVID especially, we've been kind of pinched in what we're able to offer in traditional ways. So I think we have to reach out for new solutions and to provide extra services to our teachers and staff. I'm very proud of the fact that with the new pay structure, we were able to get staffing pay to increase, and I think that's something we can continue to do going forward. But I think long term, we're going to have to get creative and come up with some of those solutions.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Mills-Gervais.
Obviously, competitive pay is going to be a big one for teachers, for staff to stay and want to come here. I also am with Jen on the childcare. That's kind of a neat option. I know other places do it, and it's probably would get a lot of people here, and teachers would want to come here. And then teachers, you know, just having a good relationship with the staff and the board, continue to communicate. Yeah, just make sure that you're keeping them happy, obviously. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Nansen.
Yeah, short term, I think we hit that short-term goal. I was very happy to hear about the wage increases, specifically for the MESPA 2 group, as that's where I landed when I worked in the school, and so I was very happy that that group really deserved it. And so I thought that was a great choice to make. Long term, I think we need to make sure we have a really good relationship with our staff and the board and administration. Continued professional development that is relevant and can uniquely advance the teachers' positions, and positions and opportunities to help the students that they work with. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Thomas.
Of course, competitive wages for our teachers and support staff are very important, as everybody's just discussed. We just passed some new contracts, which are wonderful. Keeping our teachers as low stress as you possibly could for a teacher. Making sure our classroom sizes remain small as we can. Making sure that teachers have resources available for their stress and their own mentals, as well as the children. mental health providers are in shortage everywhere, from the hospital down. And so, of course, this is a top-down problem when it comes to education, when it comes to burnout. And so working on ways that we can avoid teacher burnout, staff burnout, counselor burnout are going to be really important for retaining our staff.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Joya.
Well, it's such a tough question because ultimately the forces that have created or contribute to the teacher shortage are things much larger than us. They're things that are affecting our whole state, they're affecting our whole country, economic trends and such. I think short term we're on the right track. I think our contracts are good. I think that we have a lot of subs that we rely on that help get us through these gaps. I think in the long run, we are going to have to get creative. I agree with the other candidates that have said that. As I mentioned earlier, I have some experience with grant funding, and I'd love to explore grant funding opportunities that we haven't looked at before to try to close some of these gaps. But ultimately, it does just come down to money, because we want our teachers to be competitively paid, and for mental health services like social workers or on-site childcare, which is a great idea I hadn't thought of. That all just costs money, and we need to get the money to pay for it all one way or another.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Convenci.
Yeah, I mean, we just passed some very competitive contracts, and I think that definitely has helped fill some of the vacant positions that we had. We have way less this year than we had in previous years. The current board values our staff very highly, and yes, a lot of it does come down to money. I mean, when your state budget gets cut underneath you while you're in the middle of negotiating, that can definitely be a difficult thing to navigate around. But we have a lot of great things that we can tap into. Grow your own talent. That's something that allows some of our current staff to become teachers with low or no cost to them. We are looking at implementing an on-site daycare that would also allow our students to get credits too. So there's a lot of things that we're looking at. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Rankin.
The hospitals run into a problem too of getting staff, and one of the things that they've done is they're reaching out to people and selling the Marquette area. What do we have to offer that other areas don't? Mountain biking, skiing. Is this your snow? Is this your kind of place to be? And really reaching out to people and trying to spark that interest. That would be one way to perhaps get teachers to want to be willing to move up here and come up here and teach. Another thing to look at would be not just your pay, but what happens at the end of your career. What kind of package are they going to have at the end? I know when the state, for the corrections staff, got away with the pension plan, nosedive on people hiring.
Thank you. We now have a new question, and that question will start with candidate Sarka. What strategies would you employ to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in Marquette area public schools? And how does the district help minority students feel welcome and safe?
Thank you. That's a very good question. I think some of the things that we're doing already, and again, I hate to go back to the nickname, but I think that was a step in the right direction. The data that we looked at, the subcommittee that looked at the damage that not only a nickname like that would do to Native American students, but also non-Native students. And one of the reasons we took that step was to mitigate that damage, to stop that damage, and I think that's something we can be proud of. Not only that, but we followed through with a curriculum so that we weren't just doing kind of paying lip service to Native American culture and just not changing the name, but actually teaching about Native American culture. Those are some tangible steps we've taken in the past, and we can use that as a model going forward. Part of we don't control everything about bringing diversity into our community. I think we're blessed to have, the diversity we have in UP. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Milchervay.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. What strategies would you employ to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in Marquette area public schools? And how does the district help minority students feel welcome and safe?
I'm not really sure if we're applying this in our schools or curriculum right now. I'd like to learn more about it and what they're doing to apply it, if so. I think that, again, going back to the mental health issues and some of the things that we've done in that department, offering the help at schools with social workers, counselors, psychiatrists, things like that. RISA has been involved with paying, or partially paying some of those people to help out. I think those are all really good steps in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question, candidate Manson.
Yeah, this is something I admittedly don't have much experience with. I don't know if there's a program in place at MAPS right now. I'm sure that they are. We have amazing teachers who I've seen firsthand are great at making all students feel welcome and loved and included. So I think our staff is doing a really great job where they're at right now. But I would definitely be willing to look into programs that we can further advance that and make our students feel welcome and safe and loved. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Thomas.
It's quite clear that we are a very homogeneous area. We are a majority white community, and that makes it difficult for children of color to feel included. And so we need to do a better job of making sure that they see people who are like them in our media, in our classrooms. We can take field trips. We're blessed to have a university here in our town that, while it is somewhat homogeneous, is a little more diverse. Getting our kids out of the classroom and showing them some real world experience. I went to school here, and it wasn't until I went to Michigan State that I had even heard of what curry is. And now, you know, you have to meet people who aren't like you, and we can do that with our kids. So that's one way I think that we can include some diversity, equity, and inclusion in our schools.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Joyal.
Yeah, I think thankfully there's been shifts in the industries that supply academic materials for teachers over the years, and so in a certain sense, part of this, our job is done for us, where inclusivity has just gone up a lot in like textbooks and academic videos and things like that. So a lot of that programming we can do sort of passively if we make the right choices all the time in our material selection. I do think the other thing, and the MTSS program that we're implementing does a good job of this, of connecting the schools with outside services when the right triggers are met in a family. And so I think that helping families that are not from here get access to resources in the community that help them with that cultural divide or perhaps that language divide, because all that kind of difficulty starts in the home. And so if the family's comfortable in the community, they'll help the children be comfortable in the schools.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Kamency.
I think that yes, we have, as a district, focused a lot on, you know, being more inclusive and diverse. I think that MTSS was a great thing that was implemented, and that it has really helped a lot of our students and staff, you know, and also some social emotional learning to see other than you. And to grow good humans. I just think that there's just been a lot of growth in this area. There's always room for improvement, but I think that we're on the right track.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Rankin.
I've been up here trying to rattle my brain. I was a trainer for the Department of Corrections, and we had a training program for equity and inclusion. And one way was for people to understand that they're not so different. They had different games that you could actually play. You can do it in classes. And there was a movie that we actually showed in the training. And the only thing I can remember is the actor was Hilary Swank. I just can't remember the name of the movie. It's been driving me nuts. But it's a very good movie, and you can show how people are not so different. And not by you don't judge someone by their color, it's by their character. I wish I could remember that.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Tusignan.
I think it's curriculum and policy, and I think that it's also tied to SEL when you're teaching those SEL lessons and we're including everybody that looks different and everybody that's from different walks of life, and I think that's where it starts and that's where it finishes, and I think Marquette seems to be doing a good job of that and progressing as they need to be progressing each year. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now have our last question before we do the closing statements. And this question will go to candidate Gervais first. How would you want students educated about social media scams and bullying online?
Yeah, so I know this has been a very big topic, obviously, in the past few years. I think bullying is a super serious accusation. It's terrible. I know we have policies in place. I know that the online era has really amped everything up, and it's scary. It's scary for kids. I can't even imagine living this day and age and having those things all around me. I think, policies in place for adult interventions, of course, and I'm sure we're doing those things at the school. I don't hear a lot of bullying. I know what's going on. I know that it's there. But I don't hear a lot of problems. I think our school does a really good job with it. Looking for warning signs for kids, hot spots where it's happening, providing a safe environment for the students, teachers, parents, the staff, everybody to communicate. I think, again, communication is key. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Madsen.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Sure. How would you want students educated about social media scams and bullying online?
Okay. So this is really relevant right now. We've had some loss in our community, and it has opened up an educational opportunity, if you will. It's a tough subject that you don't want to talk about with kids, and it's scary, but I spoke with the Bothell principal recently, and they have some really awesome ideas that they are starting. They have speakers coming to address the kids at each different grade level to kind of tailor it to each age to find more appropriate ways to explain the online bullying and the social media scams. And I think they're also planning a parent night, which is essential to have the parents on board to learn what they can do to help with this situation as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Thomas.
As a child who grew up in the social media age, I can understand what it's like to be one of these children having to navigate these waters. And I know that if I were in trouble on the internet, the one person I would not want to tell is my mother. And so encouraging children to understand that the staff and the teachers are who are there for them, right? I might have been more inclined to tell my track coach or my school counselor. And so teaching kids that a safe adult is somebody you can talk to about this, and it doesn't have to be your mom or dad, because it feels a little bit scary to tell your parents that you've really messed something up, right? But you might be more inclined to tell a teacher or a counselor. And of course, having speakers come in is a wonderful idea. Teaching parents what to look out for, even if your kid won't come to you. These are all great ideas, and I support all of them.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Joyle.
I think honestly, if we're talking about internet scams and online bullying, we're mostly looking at our middle schoolers and high schoolers then, and I think by that age, these are kids that are getting sexual education. We're not beating around the bush with these kids, and I think that if we try to be coy with what the internet is, or try to shelter them, then ultimately it's going to kind of bite us in the rear end. And I think that just approaching them like human beings and being honest and sincere with them in our communications, and telling them what's out there, because it is it's a war zone out there on the internet. It really is.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Kamenzi.
The Marquette District is really lucky to have some really great partners that help us with this. We have police liaisons that help in our schools. We have social workers. We have wonderful staff, a great community that kind of can help navigate some of this stuff. and, policy, and being clear and consistent in the policies that we have, so that everyone understands the expectations and the consequences for some of this. I'm happy with a lot of the stuff that we have going on. I think that there's still stuff that we can continue to improve upon, but I think a lot of the building blocks are there.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Rankin.
Everybody's brave behind the keyboard. One guy that I met a long time ago, named Jim Provost, when I was coaching, told me one thing. You may have a kid on your team that is getting bullied, not have a good childhood, not having a good family. You may be that one person that they can come to and talk. And that is one way we have to be able to do that, is have programs for teachers, administrators, anybody in the school, that the kids can feel safe going to and talking to, even the most embarrassing things. I think that is one way to do it, and there has to be open communication with the parents too. And even go with the parents or with the child to talk to their parents might not be a bad idea too, so they feel like they got support. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Tusignan.
Well, having a 10-year-old daughter, social media and cell phone use, because it goes hand in hand, scares the bejesus out of me. These young kids get peer pressured and bullied, and they sometimes make horrible decisions because they can't talk to anybody. First and foremost, I hope that my child can talk to me. If not, I hope it's a coach or a friend. We should be bringing in speakers that can talk to them. I know that there's an OK to Say program relevant to something else at the school, but maybe there's something that we can do along those lines where they talk to a friend and then a friend can talk to a guidance counselor and give them some sort of assistance and get that communication to the parents so that there's an intervention that can happen before something bad happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to candidate Sarka.
Thank you. I think this is coming full circle to the discussion about SEL and MTSS. This is where if we build a community in the schools where a kid has options, somebody to talk to, if they can't talk to their parent, talk to a social worker, we've increased the number of those folks in the building. One of the things we have to acknowledge, and I thought it was interesting, the comment about growing up in the social media age. I grew up in where you had to turn the dial on the TV to get your information. Even your experience is outdated. One of the things we're going to have to get is more and more input from kids, because they're going to be better at telling us where some of those threats are. That's a hard thing to do, and we're going to have to rely on some data outside of our community, but we need to rely on the kids' experience, because as soon as we think we know it, it's changed. And we have to be one step ahead of the predators and the people that are taking advantage of our kids online.
Thank you. We've come to the final minutes of the MAPS Board Forum. Each of our candidates will now have 2 minutes to make a closing statement. Candidate Mattson, you now have the floor for 2 minutes.
Thank you again to the league and all participants and viewers in the audience and watching online. I'm glad we have a community that's willing to come together and learn about these local elections before casting their votes. What I hope you take from this evening is not only that I'm a mom, but that my passion and commitment to the district shines through to you. These goals and aspirations I have for MAPS are not only for my own children, but for all of our kids who attend Marquette area public schools now and in the future, and who will go on to represent our amazing community as they become adults. Aside from my regular full-time job, I'm also a small business owner, and I've been managing all aspects of that for the past 6 years. I have experience serving on multiple PTA boards, and that has allowed me insight into budget decisions which directly impact our students and staff. While I don't claim to have all the answers, I do believe I have the ability to critically analyze and make sound, responsible decisions regarding budget and policy. Nothing can prepare you better for what you might have to deal with on a school board than having children in the district who are living these experiences daily. Having worked in the district is an added bonus, as it gave me a behind-the-scenes look at district policies and procedures. Under the watch of the current board, we've seen some major divisions. We've lost $100,000 in taxpayer money. There's been very little transparency about how decisions have been made, few if any updates to taxpayers about how their money went missing and how they plan to rectify this situation going forward. I look forward to being able to help in those areas. The past few years have shown us how important a school board can be, not just for our students and staff, but for our community overall. I have the drive, the commitment, and the dedication to be an objective, unbiased, and meaningful addition to the board, and I ask for your vote this November. Thank you.
Thank you. Applause, please. Candidate Thomas, you now have the floor for 2 minutes.
I've had some folks ask me, Cassidy, why at age 28 with no children in the school district do you want to run for school board? And the answer is very simple. It's because I care. When I was in the 4th grade at Graverette Intermediate School, which is now defunct, I made it my mission to get leafy green salad in the salad bar for the other kids because I was very worried about their vitamin intake. I wrote letters, I picketed, I called the teachers, I called the lunch ladies until there was a bag of spinach in that salad bar. And it's because I care. I care about my peers, I care about my community, and I want to give back. As a physician assistant, I am trained to look at everything with an objective lens, to do research and be unbiased in my decisions for my patients and their families. I would make a great addition to our school board because I have no skin in the game. I have no one child I'm thinking of. No matter how unbiased you are, when you're a parent, you think of your kid. I am thinking of everybody's kids, and I hope you'll cast your vote for me on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Joyle, you have the floor for 2 minutes.
Thank you. Yeah, first of all, thank you all for coming. This is the first time I ever done anything like this. I was super nervous. You guys have been a great audience, so thank you so much for that. I don't have like a prepared speech. I'll just be honest with you here for a couple minutes. I came to this position, I started on this journey. One of my kids had a negative experience in one of our schools, and I started out kind of calling for accountability from other people. And that journey showed me that I don't want to just be somebody that asks for accountability from other people. I want to actually put in the work and help build the solutions and help contribute to our community directly. And I mentioned my educational background. This December I'm finishing a master's in interdisciplinary studies, which is the process of using answers and information from one field to solve problems in another field. And learning about the world and teaching about it really is just my life's passion. And my career experience, I think I've been fortunate bouncing around to a couple careers in my life. I have experience in corporate accounting. I also have experience in small business administration. And my latest experience, I've been teaching as an adjunct instructor at Northern while working on my master's. And that's been really important to me because it's shown me how institutional policies affect not only the students, but also the teachers. And I think that experience has helped lead me in a position where I'm sort of uniquely qualified to assess our policies and to make a decision that is beneficial for both groups. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Candidate Kambensi, you have the floor for 2 minutes.
I've been on the board for 10 years. You know, we've seen a lot in 10 years. People ask me all the time, why are you running for another 6 years? And other than being a glutton for punishment, just kidding. You know, it's so amazing to be a part of this board, this district. You know, we did go through a lot of hard times, but it was still one of the best things. You know, when I first ran 10 years ago, I was a mom with 3 kids in the district, and up until last year I had 1 to 3 kids in the district. You know, I had kids that have had IEPs, 504 plans, who did well in school, who didn't do well in school. I've seen a lot of things in my 10 years on the board and, you know, in the 13 plus years as a parent with a child in the district. You know, being a parent is great, but it doesn't prepare you to be a good board member. There's so much out there that I realized I didn't know, even though I had gone to so many meetings beforehand, was on the strategic planning committee before I was ever on the board. It doesn't prepare you. And so when I got on the board, I made it my mission to become the best board member possible. I've taken countless classes on everything imaginable to try to learn how to be a good board member and to serve my district and my community. And I think that I've done that with as much grace as possible during some very difficult times. I really hope that you would consider voting for me in November. I think that I still have a lot of experience to offer, and, you know, we have had a lot of turnover, and experience is going to be key. We have turnover at a lot of the top positions, superintendent, principals. You know, there's a lot of institutional knowledge that is missing. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Rankin, you now have 2 minutes on the floor.
I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and everybody who attended tonight. I want to see a safe place for the children to learn. And I want everybody to feel included and valued. I want the kids to have a great education. I want to find creative ways to help with funding. Everybody can complain, and I've always seen this. It's easy to sit there and complain about what's wrong with the system, what's wrong with the system. I finally got tired of complaining or hearing people complain about it, and I said, I'm going to try to do something about it. I'm going to sit, I'm going to listen to people, and then I'm going to step up, put my neck out there, and I'm going to run. There's going to be some tough decisions coming ahead, and there's going to be trying to be creative ways to come up with things. And I did it with the Department of Corrections, working with the state bureaucracy there for 30 years. I'd like to have the opportunity to try it here. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Jusignant, you have the floor for 2 minutes.
Well, thank you to the League for facilitating this forum tonight and giving the voters an opportunity to get to know the candidates better, as well as everyone who came out tonight and those watching at home. First and foremost, I'm a mom and believe that education is a top priority for my child and all others. I can't think of anything more important than preparing our children for their future to be successful, productive, and happy adults. The purpose of any board is to represent its stakeholders, all of them, including those with differing beliefs, wants, or needs. The MAPS board is a nonpartisan board so that all opinions and children are represented. My ability to strategize, compromise, and make objective decisions make me an excellent candidate for this position. My experience dealing with people from all walks of life, backgrounds, and socioeconomic status give me a unique perspective and the ability to assist with any and all challenges. While there are 8 people running for the 3 open seats, only 4 have children in the district, and I absolutely believe that when you have a personal stake in something, you try even harder to make the right decisions. As a parent, we see the consequences of the board's decisions on a daily basis. You don't get to walk away and come back a month later. We live with those decisions. This term is for 6 years. While there are no term limits in place for this position, I believe there should be. If re-elected, the 2 incumbents will have a combined total of 28 years on the board. And while that dedication is admirable, I fully believe that fresh ideas, views, and perspectives are needed to carry our district into the future and navigate the tough road ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Sarka, you have the floor for 2 minutes.
Thank you. As I started to say, and now I have 2 minutes to express it fully, when I started this as a board member, I had more hair. I didn't need glasses. I was about a ½ inch taller, and I had more friends. And I was asked today, why in the heck, not heck, would you want to be a board member for another 6 years? I've been proud to be a board member, and I've said this at several meetings, that I'd rather have all those challenges, the lead in the water, the COVID, the nickname challenges, than simply to show up every month and decide which pizza vendor we use. It's time to move forward, and usually that means moving forward means change. In the board, as we stand now, moving forward means continuity. Moving forward means relying on 28 years of experience. To go back and forth tears our community apart. I'll always remember back in 2020, in the midst of the nickname decision, I remember trying to get both sides to talk and saying, try not to just accept that people oppose it and don't attribute some bad motive to it. Because someday we're going to have to come together and make a decision to come together when there's a more serious issue. COVID hit 2 weeks later. And I was really heartened to see 2 women who had been on opposite sides of that started making masks together. We make conscious decisions as adults to come together. That's a conscious decision. And if we want to look somewhere for leadership and healing this community, let's look to our kids, right? Because they're coming together, they're showing spirit, they're acting as a community. I look forward to serving regardless of how hard it's going to be. And I think I've been proud of what we've done in the last several years. And again, I would rely on that years of experience to lead us forward.
Thank you. Candidate Mills Gervais, you have the floor for 2 minutes.
Thank you. And thank you for having us tonight again, ladies. As a mom, a longtime member of this community and MAPS student myself, I care deeply about every child and the continued success of our school system. We have wonderful teachers and staff at MAPS, but we will be looking at many challenges in the future, repairing relationships in the community and other pending issues with infrastructure. Besides being a busy mom, I work at the Mary G. Family Beacon House and as an esthetician. I also manage a small family business and do financial bookwork. I have a diverse background and work closely with the public on a daily basis. Therefore, I have the skills necessary to work well with others and effectively communicate to solve problems. This position is a nonpartisan position. I intend to look at the issues in a non-biased and cooperative way. I'm not a politician. I'm here for the students and the staff. I have no agendas and believe fresh new perspectives are essential to any board. The school board member term, like we mentioned, is 6 years with no term limits. That is a long time, and boards have term limits for good reason. I also believe in transparency between the board, staff, student, and the community. Under the tenure of the current board, over $130,000 of taxpayer money was stolen. What has the current Board of Education done to provide the community with any updates? What communication has been made to the community to ensure this won't happen again? The community has also asked multiple times for public knowledge regarding how much the school has spent on the new logo. How might this affect our schools with regard to passing future millages? I look forward to exploring these questions and seeking solutions to provide transparency to Marquette voters. I'd like to thank all the individuals in the district, and I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you all. This concludes the candidate forum for the MAPS board. The League of Women Voters of Marquette County would like to thank all the candidates for participating. Thank you. We'd also like to thank all our volunteers who made this possible, the staff of Peter White Public Library for the beautiful venue, excuse me, and both Rotary clubs in Marquette, Rotary West and Marquette Rotary, and the League of Women Voters of Michigan for helping fund this forum. We of the League would like to remind the audience that if you found this forum informative and you believe that voter participation is not just a spectator sport, then we urge you to join us. The League of Women Voters is always open to new members of any gender. For further information on the upcoming general election, go to our online voter guide at vote411.org and to the League's local and state printed guides. Remember to vote at home, in early voting, or on the day, November 5th. Your vote is your voice. Thank you so much. Now feel free to mingle with the crowd. There is campaign literature